What's up, everyone? This is going to be the first episode of Deep Waters. Buckle up, let's dive into this. If you're new to my channel, this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. We got the perfect tournament to do it for. This is gonna go all over the place, and I'm talking about all over the place. So you're gonna have to like follow along. You're gonna have to watch all the episodes. They will all connect, I promise. I promise they will all connect. Okay, couple things I want y'all to keep in mind. Here's the number one thing. I've gotten this on a lot of my videos, and I get it. They say I'm scatterbrained, like I'm all over the place, it's hard to follow. Well guys, that's fishing. And let me explain something real quick for the guys that go, hey man, he's always all over the place. If you're not scatterbrained, if you're not all over the place, when you first hit the water, you're doing something wrong. And here's why. I want to be everywhere. I want my mind all over the place, thinking 1,000 different things. If you're thinking one or two things, you're not open to what's going on. That is, if you get so dialed in right off the bat that all you want to do is just this one thing, you're not leaving your mind open to do everything, to maybe do anything. So yes, my mind's spinning 1,000 times a second. I'm here, I'm there, I'm thinking about this. Every little thing that happens on the water, I'm trying to digest it, I'm trying to analyze it, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly it means. Because I might catch a fish and there's like 20 different things that might contribute to why I caught that fish. Some of them might be real, some of them might be fake, some of them it might be next to some grass and a bush, and the wind's blowing this way and it's sunny and cloudy and it's early in the morning. Like all that's going through my head, and I'm trying to decipher whether or not, does the morning have anything to do with it? Did that bush have anything to do with it? Did the wind have anything to do with it? Fish I catch after that will determine that. But yes, I might be all over the place in some of these videos, but that's how my mind's working. I'm having to remember all these things all the time. And if you're only just sitting there going, well, I caught a fish and I caught him on a spinnerbait, that almost has very little to do sometimes with what's really going on. So keep that in mind and try to follow along. I get it, I'm all over the place, but man, that's really how your mind should work. Just saying. Here's the other thing. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, do not try and guess how we caught him, because you will probably get it wrong. Like the minute you think you got this figured out, probably won't happen. This is how we practice. This is how I've always practiced. And this is how usually sometimes tournaments go. That's what's pretty cool about this. To me, this is the real way to learn how to fish. This is what people are missing. Like I said, everyone sees the final product. They don't really see what goes into it. So I'm gonna start from the very, very beginning and give you all a little rundown about the lake, Choke Canyon, and then what we plan on doing before we ever hit the water. But I'm still gonna dive into on the water stuff. Okay? I don't wanna hit y'all with just what my thoughts are before going to the lake, but I am gonna share a little bit with y'all on that part. So let's go. All right, Choke Canyon. Here's the deal, I've been there. This is maybe my 4th time. I was there like 10 years ago for a Costa where I finished like 7th. Like 20 feet higher. I didn't go again until last year in like February, okay? And then I went this year again in like January. Most of those times I have fished up the lake. For whatever reason, I kind of had a feeling that up the lake wasn't gonna be very good. Just a little knowledge on Choke, a lot of the fishing in June is on the south end. So we kind of put our efforts towards the south end and said, let's not worry about the north end. I don't think the grass is very good up there. I know there's a lot of grass on the south side, and I know most of the deep water's down there. So deep water, offshore stuff. Okay, real quick. This is a Texas Team Trail event. It's the championship. So here's the rules. We have 2 days of practice, 2-day tournament. So we both decided he's gonna go in his boat, I'm gonna go in mine, and I instantly go down south. I know of a couple little offshore places that I've kind of seen before and on the map. It's mainly some rock stuff and some things like that, but I've got some other stuff in mind, okay? But I don't know how deep they are. I don't know if they're in like 10 foot, 15, or they are the way on 20, 22. I don't know any of that stuff yet. So that's my goal, is I'm gonna go start deep. I go start by the dam, okay? So here's the problem I see right off the bat. There's people everywhere. There's gonna be people rolling through here for the next 2 days. Okay, there's one more little thing in there that I won't mention yet because I didn't know about it. So I'm gonna hold off on this one thing. But I can tell right off the bat, there's people everywhere, but I kind of mess around. I hit a brush pile here, and then I hit this other little place and finally get 2 bites. I don't think they're good bites, but I did get 2 bites. It's around it for a while, and I just see this grass. It's early in the morning. I'm like, let's go check out some grass. At the start of this, especially day 1 of practice, I didn't keep all the videos. So this first video of me hitting the grass, I didn't keep it. I caught a whole bunch of fish, but I went to go save clips, and I was like, yeah, I caught a whole bunch of fish, but who really cares? I caught a whole bunch all day long, so I didn't keep everything. So there's a couple here and there that I didn't keep. So I didn't keep me going instantly to the grass. There's gonna be very few video clips that I didn't save. Just as just one of them, might be the only one. So don't worry, instantly go to the grass. I see a lot of things blowing up in there, and I get bit instantly. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's just see what the grass is like. I'm already here. So I start catching them in the grass, and I instantly call up my buddy Brent. This is what we do. We might talk 4 or 5 times a day. We might talk 20 times a day. We're always going through, talking about what we're doing, seeing if we figure something out, throwing out patterns, throwing out things we're witnessing, things we're seeing, and we adjust our practice constantly because of that, like constantly. So our minds are always going, okay, if this is going on, how do we prepare for that? So we're always looking for that angle, right? Or that thing. Like, I instantly see that I know down here by the dam is good, but the pressure, I mean, it is day 1 of practice, and there are boats everywhere. And I'm sitting here going, it's just gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. But I don't rule it out yet. I'm just making a note of that, you know, because I can still maybe find some stuff that's off the beaten path. Got the Carolina rig going, and I've had a couple of bites on that. Nothing great. I don't think it's great. I've tried to cranking for right now doesn't seem right. I don't know why. The grass bite so far is good, and it's getting really good. And I go down this stretch and I get a bunch of bites, like a bunch. And I haven't caught anything big, but you know, that's not a big deal yet. And I've noticed that some guys are fishing it, but they're not fishing the same way I am. So I'm paying attention to that. I haven't seen anyone catch anything. Normally I shake everything off, okay? Choke Canyon's different. And here's why. Choke Canyon has a bunch of fish in it and a bunch of big ones. And I will, sometimes when I get to a lake like this and I haven't been to in a while, I'm gonna go ahead and catch some just to see. Now, I'll keep catching them if none of them are big. Like, I'll just keep catching them because they don't mean anything to me. And I already know I can catch a limit because of how good it is. So I'm not worried about a limit, and it's a championship. First and second place are boats. That's what we're going for. And this place has them. A limit is not gonna be that big of a deal. And so I just keep catching them. All right, so here's Choke Canyon. This is the south end. There's the dam. There's what I kind of consider the north end and the river. River goes all through here. This is not a great map, guys. I didn't really bring I didn't go and get a good map. I'm just wasn't worried about it. Here's the dam, the intake, and there's the dam. And I was just kind of fishing. Like I said, I have a whole bunch of trails, but I've erased most of them. So I was kind of fishing this whole area right here, and that's where everyone was at. Okay, it's no secret. I just kind of started fishing down this bank right here of grass. But I can tell that's where everyone's at, is way down there, all fishing deep. Not too many of them are worried about the shallow deal. I kind of go back and forth on the grass, but it's still nothing's clicking. And what I mean by that is I've gotten a whole bunch of bites up shallow, almost none deep. And the ones I got deep, like I assumed they would be big, but they're not big. I can tell they're not big. And I'm throwing a Carolina rig fishing. If you watch any of my videos, I'm not saying I can tell all the time whether or not they're big, but here's a quick note on Carolina rig fishing. If I'm throwing a Carolina rig and I don't feel a bite and it's just heavy, 50-50 on it being a pretty good fish, okay? A lot of times though, these, I'm feeling them and they're not holding on very long. Big ones usually hold on pretty good and they usually take off, and a lot of times you never feel them. And I've felt almost every one of these, and it's not that great, okay? Now, so I start idling around. Sometimes I idle. I'm not necessarily looking for anything. I wasn't looking for brush. I wasn't looking for fish. I'm just kind of looking to see what's going on, okay? And I'll do that because you never know what you might find. And like I said, I didn't realize I was going to do this video like this. So I didn't show when I found stuff. Didn't mean I always showed it because I didn't know really what I had found. But I started finding them, and luckily I did take one picture. Here it is. So I start seeing perch beds, and I'm like, okay. So I just started graphing around everywhere and start marking them, and I found like 8 or 9 of them, and I'm going, oh man, this is something else. So I graphed it all, but since I kind of graphed over everything and they're kind of shallow, I didn't want to just start fishing them. So I looked up there in the grass, and now it's gotten, if you can notice, now it's gotten sunny. Sometimes the deep bite gets good, sometimes the grass gets bad. I don't know yet. This is something I've almost never done, but I did it. Let's go in this grass again, and I'm gonna throw some different things in there. I tried a top water earlier, didn't really work. I'm gonna try the outside edge of the grass because I couldn't really see what kind of grass it was. I couldn't really see what I was throwing at because it was kind of blowing and it was dark. So now I can see how the grass lays out, and I want to go back through it again. And like I said, normally I wouldn't do this, but a lot of times I really wasn't looking for a spot. I was really looking to see a pattern and how I can apply this pattern everywhere else. So I'm still looking for a pattern in the grass. So I go through it again and still crush them. I mean, I get on them good. Again, still haven't caught anything big, right? Here we go. So I'm catching all these fish, right? And I mean, I kind of just go to winging on them as much as I possibly can. Grass, and something tells me pick up one of these. I think it wasn't a whopper plopper, it was a chopo. I threw it out there like first cast, freaking one eats it. And I'm like, oh, okay, this might get interesting. And then a couple casts later, another one. And I'm going, all right, this is something to work with. Of course, then I go throw it forever for a while and don't get any more bites. The grass kind of ran out on me. I kind of figured out, you know what? Everyone's kind of disappeared from that deep stuff because I've just stayed down here way longer than I normally would. But I wanted to give it its fair chance. So I'm like, let's go fish some of these perch beds and see what happens. So I'm fishing these perch beds, and I don't really know what I want to do with them. I don't know if I want to worm them, if I want to throw a jig. I don't know if I want to throw a crankbait on them. I really just don't know how I really want to approach them. But I do know one thing: when I threw a Carolina rig on some of them, I got little bites, which let me know there was some perch on them. So I was like, okay, there's some perch. And then I checked the spot where I got bit earlier. I graphed it, and on it there was, I saw where I got bit, but then I saw these perch beds kind of off to the side. So that was when I started graphing all that area. I noticed that. So when I pulled back up there, I didn't throw where I got bit. I threw where I thought those perch beds were, and I had 2 bites. One of them, maybe both of them, but one of them, I threw a biffle head on one. I never felt it. It just got heavy and just swam out to deep water. So I'm going, okay, that right there had some different stuff on it, had some bigger rock and perch beds, and had a big drop off. And I'm sitting here going, that's maybe a starting spot. I mean, I know it's going to be crowded, but here's the deal. We're boat 4. I know this because they let you off in Angler of the Year standings. So we knew that we were going to have pretty much first shot at any spot we wanted to. I mean, we could get unlucky and maybe someone try to start in front of us in our tournament, but chances are, even if that's the only spot, we'll find more spots than just that one. So we'll have backups, but I'm like, okay, if nothing else, that's where we're going to start. Already, that's what I'm thinking. We're going to start there just because I had a feeling it could have some big ones on it. And I'll leave you right there. I'll leave it right there and catch back up for episode 2. Stay with me, because like I said, there's so much more that's going to happen. I promise. So much more. All right. See y'all next episode.